Good evening, ladies, and welcome. Welcome to our talent show. I believe that this is the 8th show that we've been doing. I remember we started this about 7 years ago with my daughter's friends who were little kids back then, and they had no self-consciousness at all. They were the first performers in the show, and we had such a great time that we just decided to keep on going. And I just really enjoy doing this talent show. I love being able to give women in the community a platform in which, literally a platform in which to be able to perform, because it's rare. It's rare to find a venue and a platform in which to be able to just kind of get up here and do your own thing. And I decided that, yeah, this is what we need to do. I have always loved doing talent shows. I mean, even when I was a little kid, we had a really nice sized backyard. Me and my brothers, we used to put on a talent show, like whenever we could. We would like get some of the neighbors to come and join it too, and we'd make a type of a circus/show. I would climb a tree, and then I got old enough to realize that was not right, so I stopped that. And yeah. So it's great. Welcome. I absolutely love this. So thank you so much. This is a really nice crowd. Thank you so much for coming out tonight to support Maya Stema, a very important cause, an Israeli cause that helps out needy brides in Eretz Yisrael, either for girls who haven't got parents or have parents who cannot afford to pay for their weddings. So this helps out. You know, a little bit of money to us goes a very long way toward making a wedding in Eretz Yisrael. So rest assured, you know that your money is going to a really great cause tonight that's going to go very far. And the Kalos in Eretz Yisrael, thank you. And I thank you so much for being here tonight to support Maya Stema and also to support our talent. And by the way, if anybody else still wants to sign up, you totally can. I have that that anybody who still wants to sing, dance, do any kind of act, or to recite their own poetry can and should feel like they can come over to me, and you will definitely be put in after the first bunch of acts. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about, I'm literally only going to talk once now because afterwards we're going to be doing our improvisation, and later on we're going to be teaching yoga, so that's like about enough of my voice for one night. I know that people get extremely anxious when they have to get up and perform. I don't know anybody who does not get a bit anxious. Myself included, believe it or not. People are like, how do you get anxious and you love to perform? I'm like, I have two things. I get anxious and I love to perform. So what am I going to do? Not perform because I get anxious? No. You got to go beyond your anxiety. You got to work it anyway. You don't have a choice. You do not have a choice. It's either you rule your anxiety or your anxiety rules you. And I have decided to rule my anxiety, the master of my own mind. So with that, I'm now going to call upon Cyril Braun. She's going to be doing some poetry and showing us candle making.
So first of all, I want to say thank you to Dina for giving us the opportunity and the space to perform. Well, I don't have stage fright. I hate the microphone. So that's my anxiety. Normally I sing, but I was in a coma from COVID and I was on a ventilator. And I have something called aphonia. I don't have a voice anymore. So I had a transplant to get vocal cords.
Oh, wow.
But this is my voice now. So I'm going to read poetry instead. I write a lot of poetry to empower women or to empower myself. So this poem goes to all the women or the girls that have a lot of judgmentalism against them when they're dating. Can you hear it? Okay. I have a few poems, so I'm going to read maybe one now, maybe a few more later. Okay. This one's called I Am Light. I wrote this about 5-6 years ago. Okay, let me see. I am light. I'm not fear, anxiety, and fright. I'm intelligence, I'm loyalty, ethics, and allegiance. Personality, morality. I'm hopes, goals, and dreams. I have an aura, my light beams. I'm not food I eat, nor the rhythm I beat. I'm not abuse nor misuse, not my funky clothes, not my collection of shoes. I'm not black or white or nor hues. I'm not fashion, but I am passion. I'm not my weight, not my ethnic features, looks, nor gait. I'm not panic attacks, nor my medical facts. I'm not the mistakes I make, nor the twists and turns in my life that I take. I'm not broken, nor am I outspoken. I'm not failures, nor bad choices, nor my bad thoughts, nor voices. I'm not my eye color, nor skin tone, nor whether I'm social or I like to be alone. I'm not the music I enjoy, nor the job that I hold or people I employ. I'm not my diet, nor whether I'm friendly or quiet. I'm not long hair or a pixie, a fashionista, frumpy or sexy. I'm not a script, nor whether I'm talented or ill-equipped. I'm not the salary I earn, nor the multiple languages I learn. I'm not my hairstyle, or the pretty makeup face I paint and jewelry I pile. I'm not the shoes I wear, nor the people and situations I fear. Externals don't define me, so please don't undermine me. I'm not my abuser's hurt nor scars, neither am I nights with friends at bars. What you see is not even me, you observe only the road I'm on, and I will still be me when all I have is gone. I'm not possessions, nor my handbags, perfumes, collections, or obsessions. I'm not a label or a name, not anonymity nor fame. I'm not blame, and I'm not shame. I'm not your opinions or your thought, nor the negativity I am taught. I'm not the drinks and cocktails I choose, or whether I'm a coffee lover, tea drinker, or prefer wine and booze. I'm not my age, nor my nightmares from abuse and rage. I'm not anything of a master lost. My travels, mountains I climbed, or oceans I've crossed. I'm not an exotic face, or the curves that I have and you want to trace. I'm not emotional expression. All you see on me is just an extension. I'm not tax I excel at or keep messing. I'm life, I'm love, and I'm a blessing. I'm not polished, cultured, or rough. I am enough. I shine from deep within me day and night, and I am light. I'm evolvement, growth, and transition. I'm never doubt nor stagnation. I'm not the cloth of society's gauges. They have tried to define women for ages. I'm not hardships and pain, I'm only gain. I am right, and I radiate infinite light. So that was for all the women and the girls who are continuously dating, and all the questions that the Shadchanim asked that make absolutely no sense. So this is for everyone there. Do you want me to do the candle now?
That'd be great, yeah.
So, I do a lot of different types of artwork. Jewelry design, glass art, and just endless amounts of drawings, paintings. Because I was on the ventilator in a coma, I lost mobility and I was paralyzed. And I had a lot of therapy to regain my muscles and my movement. And it's very hard for me to do a lot of the art that I used to do because you need fine motor skills, and I just cannot. I came up with an idea recently that I could transfer napkins onto candles and I could design candles. And I want to show you how I do it so that if any of you just want to decorate your house for Yom Tov or Shabbos or anything, you can really make pretty candles. So I buy the candles wherever I want, wherever I see, sometimes in the 99-cent store, just plain candles. I'll show you what I purchase. I buy napkins wherever I see them, amazing savings. Or today I just took napkins from the event and I made Dina a candle to remember the event. I buy it in the Kohl's store, I buy them at Maishi's, I buy them at Party City. Wherever I see pretty napkins, I purchase and I create either glass plates with it, or I transfer it onto a candle, and I'll show you how. So here are two candles that I made today, this morning. This one is for Rosh Hashanah.
Wow.
Thank you. This one I made for a friend's birthday. It has hydrangeas, obviously the favorite flower, with butterflies.
I love the one with the first.
This candle I found at Home Goods, $5.99. This one I found at also Home Goods for $7.99. So I'm going to use them. So I prepared the candles, the napkins for the candles at home. Because it's a lot of preparation. What you need to do is take a regular napkin and peel the layers, the plies. You know, you see it says 1 ply, 2 ply, 3 ply. You peel the plies until all you have left is the actual part of the napkin that you want to use to decorate the candle. I found this one, I think it was at Maishi's or a Kohl's store. I cut out the flowers that I want to use, and I started peeling it at home because it takes like 20 minutes to, and I'm not exaggerating, you'll see for yourself if you want. I have napkins here if anybody wants to try to peel them. I'm gonna take it has 1, 2, 3 plies. I'm going to use just the flower. It's extremely delicate, extremely thin, so you have to do it very, very slowly so you don't tear the picture. So I got the picture here. It's a vase of flowers. And I'm going to use a mid-sized candle for it. I like to use scissors that are really tiny because I get more precision out of it. And because of my hands shaped from not having good fine motor skills, this is very good for me. So if anybody has hardships cutting or using their hands, the smaller scissors are easier to work with. Don't forget to peel the candles or you're going to melt plastic.
Oh, there's an iron.
So this is the actual candle. It has a little bit of marbleization on it, but it's perfectly fine. It works fine. You're not going to see it. Heat up the iron to very, very hot. But what we're going to do is I'm going to transfer the picture by ironing the candle so slightly that the top layer of oil in the wax will come through the napkin and will make the napkin translucent, and it absorbs the napkin into the candle.
Very cool.
How I came up with this, I have no idea. I just needed to do artwork, and I couldn't do artwork that I normally do. I do a lot of beadwork and things like that that I cannot do anymore.
So creative. I found a new hobby.
You better believe. They make the most gorgeous gifts, by the way.
Yeah.
So sorry, I don't have control of my vocal cords. I use parchment paper to cover the picture as I work, and I create a bit of a handle to hold the candle with. You see this? So when you're going to be working, do this very carefully. And I'm going to start ironing. And never put the iron down when you're working because it's extremely dangerous. Work away from your body. I've burnt myself more than once. Like on my stomach, through my clothing. Yeah. So I'm ironing the very top layer. I'm barely touching the candle, but the heat is starting to transfer, and I'm going to show you the difference and what it does to the actual image of the napkin. It's incredible. Also, don't press into the candle or you're going to create grooves because you're melting. So I'm going to show you in a minute.
She asked what degree do you put the iron on?
The highest, and it's extremely hot. It's on the linen setting, which is extremely high. So I'm going to show you so far what I have here. Do you see that it's becoming translucent?
Very nice.
By the way, to do this for every Yom Tov, to decorate your table with like some candles, it's absolutely stunning. Would you ask me?
Would you please turn us so we can see that?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Do you see it's becoming clearer? The picture looks like it's in the candle
Beautiful.
because the oil came through the candle. Hold on. So you do it section by section, and you could check on your work. And the way you could tell if the oil came through, you will see that the picture became translucent. And in a part that you missed, you're going to see that the napkin is still paper-like. But once the oil comes through, there's no paper anymore. I don't think this is a good idea to light. I never lit any of these. I need them for decorative purposes. But when you give it as a gift, it's absolutely stunning. You could even give like the pack of napkins matching to it at the same time. It's absolutely gorgeous. I also design glass plates, and I sometimes transfer the same napkin onto the plates. But that's a different method, not obviously an iron.
So you never light them, in other words, they would be flammable?
I'm not sure. I never tried it. I will hopefully try it one day when I have space outdoors or something that I know that it's safe. Because I'm not sure if the candles catch on fire or not. I mean, if the napkins will catch on fire. We're almost through with the whole candle. Let me show you. Do you see the difference?
Wow.
It goes literally into the candle. It makes it look like two-dimensional almost.
Very nice. Beautiful.
It takes about 5 minutes or less to make a candle, but the cutting of the napkin takes such a long time. I had to prepare this at home. It took me about 20 minutes just to cut the napkins into the shape that I needed, to have the parts of the napkin that I wanted. So I recommend that you give yourself time. You could do it a little bit at a time. You could do it in a day or two. It doesn't have to be done all at once. And think about the idea and the patterns that you want to use. You could make collages. You could make a few different flowers. It's up to your creativity to come up with what you want to do. Here's the candle.
Very nice.
This is so complete. You could come up and see how the napkin transferred through.
I want to see.
You see this?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You can pass it around.
Wow. Stunning. I'm making these.
For sure. If you want, you could hire me for birthday parties or just a ladies' night out. It's a lot of fun. A lot of women really enjoy this. I just want to give you a little bit of a tip. When you finish, take a napkin, even with an ironless hand, and just mush it around to get the oil of the candle off so that you don't transfer it onto clothing. Or use an iron that you only use for crafts. And always pay attention to the iron if it's on or off, because it could be a disaster. I've burnt myself so many times. Yeah, so that's your candle over there to see. And it's something that anybody could do. You don't need to be talented in any way or form. You just need to come up with a pretty napkin that you see and you think like, oh, I'd like to transfer that onto my candle. I've given it as hostess gifts, birthday gifts, birth gifts. My boss recently had a baby and I bought a It's a Girl napkin with cute little It's a Girl designs on it, and I transferred onto a candle and I give it to him to put in the baby's room. So there are a lot of ideas of what you could do with it. And always use parchment paper and not wax paper, because wax paper in itself has oil and you don't want everything to become greasy. The parchment paper actually adds a layer of protection from the grease. And if you see that you press too much on the candle and the actual wax came through, just scrape it off with your nail when it dries. It comes right off and the napkin is just gorgeous, so enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cyril Brown. I really, really appreciate it. Beautiful. Beautiful recitation, beautiful candle making. You're going to be hearing from Cyril again later on in the program. Next up, before Esther and I do our Fishbowl Improv, there are a couple of people that I need to thank for this amazing evening. Thank you so much, Tessa Weber. Thank you for everything, for directing the music, the microphones. Thank you so much to your husband, Sipan. I really, really, really appreciate this. This is great. There's no way I could do this without tech people, without great friends. I wouldn't even try. So thanks so much for making the evening go so smoothly. I would love to thank Kaya Lu, who happens to not be here right now, but you're all familiar with her, for beautiful party planning as per usual. And to everybody who's been helping out, Kaya, Charlie in the kitchen, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And to Louie, who's somewhere upstairs. And to Neffy, who's here, my older daughter. She's here, she's collecting the money. And my younger daughter, Esther, who is going to be doing Fishbowl Improv with me in just about a moment. And for being actually the inspiration for tonight's show. I gave her a choice. I said, look, we can either do a fashion show or a talent show. I'm giving you the choice. And Esther preferred the talent show, and here we are doing a talent show. And it's such a great thing to do right after Purim, 3 weeks before Pesach. I won't bother anybody before, but after tonight, except for to do yoga, if you'd like to join it. So without further ado, I'd like to call to the stage Esther Nierenberg, my daughter, to do Fishbowl Improv. Esther. So I'm sure that most of you know by now what our Fishbowl Improv is all about. Basically, we have a bowl. That's the bowl. And from the bowl, we pick out randomly characters, and we pick out a setting, and we pick out a scene that we gotta act out. So without further ado, I'm going to go and get our bowl, and would you like the pleasure of choosing the characters and stuff, or should I? Okay, Sarah. Here's the deal. We have ourselves a whiny little kid, and that's Esther. We have her enemy, I'm her enemy. We find ourselves at a restaurant, and the restaurant ran out of dessert. Okay, so here we are at this restaurant. We're at Casada. I'm sitting with my family, you're sitting with your family.
My mommy tells me that I can mature at my own pace.
Well, you know what? Even so, this is a restaurant, and you're supposed to behave in a restaurant, and you don't know how. You're just so whiny. It's like I don't know. It's like they should be paying me to eat here, but instead I just have to sit here and listen to you. You know what? Next time I'm gonna go to a place that they play music, and I'll have to stand on top of an adult's head so I can
Play music here.
so I can pose as an adult and get into a restaurant that only allows people who are 16 years or older to go to. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stand on top of my daddy's shoulders and just come in as a big person. That's what I'm gonna do from now on, because I can go to restaurants where babies are. I will not do this. I'm not doing this anymore. You know what? I went out tonight because I'm a big girl, and I see somebody in my class, and she's behaving like a big baby, and it's not even fair to me.
I'm telling my mommy and my sister and my daddy on you.
Tell everybody on me. I don't care. You can tell anybody you want, because I'm gonna go and tell my mommy and daddy and my sister and my brother and my grandma. I'm gonna tell everybody that I have to sit in a restaurant when somebody just behaves like a baby, when I'm so mature. I really don't understand some people. Don't keep crying. Don't keep crying. Oh my God, too far. I know.
Let's be friends.
Let's be friends. I have a lollipop for you. And tomorrow I'm gonna bring another lollipop to school.
And I'm gonna bring a lollipop for you too.
Wow, we're always gonna be best friends. And so I've decided my wild card would be that I'm going to be a very whiny teenager.
And I'm the mother.
And she's the mother, I'm the very, very whiny teenager. We find ourselves at our high school reunion, but I'm thinking it's probably more like my high school reunion, Ma. Or your high school reunion, we'll figure it out. And the problem is that we got stuck in a hailstorm. We get stuck in a hailstorm. It's hailing outside, but we're at a high school reunion. So, okay, she's the Ma. I'm at the high school reunion. I think it's my high school reunion. I'm like this whiny teenager type.
Darling, why did you invite me to your high school reunion? I'm not interested in getting to know your friends. I'm not interested in getting to know your previous teachers. Why would you invite me to your high school reunion?
Because, we graduated 6 months ago, and I already miss everybody so much. It's like I don't know, you can't possibly understand that I miss everybody, and I don't know why you kind of tagged along with me.
You invited me, so I figured it would be the right thing to do to show up to my daughter's high school reunion.
Oh, okay. So thank you so much, Ma. This way people won't think that what will people think? What will people think of me?
Think that we're best friends.
People think we're best friends. Are we best friends, Ma?
Whatever you say, hon.
Okay, they're best friends. We're best friends, and we're at my high school reunion. Just don't embarrass me very badly.
I'm gonna try not to embarrass you.
Oh my God, it's hailing! It's hailing outside! Oh my God! Oh, why is it hailing so hard? Oh my God! Ma, I don't think we're ever gonna get to the high school reunion.
I don't either think so.
Oh,
How about we just blow this joint and go somewhere else?
We have to, because you know what, Ma? You're gonna hate my friends.
I know I will.
They-
I always hated them. Whenever you tell me about them, I was like, oh wow, these kids are a bunch of brats.
Oh my gosh, Ma, this hailstorm has totally saved me. You don't even know. I so did not even want to go to this stupid thing. I literally am only going so that people will keep thinking I'm cool. Because we just graduated 6 months ago. I want people to still think I'm cool. And if I skipped it, they'll think I'm some kind of loser.
But isn't that what Instagram is for?
Oh, Ma, I'm not on stuff like that. Believe it or not, I don't do Instagram, Ma.
I don't believe you.
Oh, go check my phone, Ma. Go check my phone. I don't do Instagram. I would rather just show up to the party and let everybody admire me.
Okay, so let's go.
I'm just plain cool. And now there's a hailstorm, and we're not even gonna get there, Ma. And we're still waiting for the bus. And I'm such a nerd. Why do we even have to take the bus? I don't want anybody to see me taking the bus.
I'll drive you then. Would you like for me to drive you to your reunion?
Ma, you know what? I'm so disheveled now. I don't even think I want to be seen at my reunion. After all of this, I'm just sweating and gross and disgusting. And
So how
dinner and to the movies.
Yes! That is a much better idea. Thank you so much, Ma, for thinking of it.
You're the best daughter ever.
You're the best mom ever! Love you, Mommy! Thank you! One of us is a dog lover. One of us is a grandma. We are sitting and watching a Broadway show. And where is it happening? It's happening in a school. So here we go. Are you the dog lover or the grumpy grandma?
The grumpy grandma.
And I'm the dog lover because I love dogs. Woo! Okay, so here I find myself at the school, and believe it or not, there's going to be a Broadway show here at the school. So here I am, and I'm sitting in my seat really, really nicely. But the deal is that I had to bring my 2 dogs with me. You know why? Because I cannot leave these cutie things.
I hate your dogs. I hate your dogs.
I was explaining about my beautiful dogs. They are like my children. They go everywhere with me. I don't leave them home, and I want them to be cultured. And that's why.
Well, don't bring them to our Broadway show.
Why the heck is it in a school anyway? Oh, I know why he's in school, but it doesn't make a difference why he's in school. It happens to be. I can't leave my puppies home. They're my babies. I'm not. No, that's it. Old lady, sit down, and I'll sit down.
No, you sit down.
No, you sit down first. You sit down.
You sit down because you were the one who spelled it first.
You know, that's it. Let's try to watch the show together. You and
What's
me.
the show about
And
already?
This show is about 2 princesses. One's name is Elsa and one's name is Anna.
That is so
Frozen.
stupid.
Okay, but guess what? Oh, Grandma, grumpy Grandma, you're the one who just showed up to the show. You didn't know what you're showing up to tonight? Come on.
I thought I was showing up to my granddaughter's school play.
No, it's not a granddaughter school play. It's a big, bright Broadway show tonight.
Well, in that case, I think I'll leave.
Oh, so go leave. Are you afraid of my dogs?
No, I'm not afraid of your dogs. I just don't like your dogs.
Oh, but they're so pretty. Go pet them. They're pretty.
No!
There's Fifi and K9.
No!
Oh, don't listen to this mom. She doesn't know what she's doing or saying. I can't believe she doesn't like you guys. Everybody loves you. Everybody loves Fifi and K9. You know
Now,
what?
what kind of names is that?
You know what? I chose them.
No one names their dogs those names.
I chose them randomly out of a hat one night. I dreamt about it. I had a dream about what I was going to name my dogs when I got them. And I finally got 2 dogs. I can't believe that you don't love them. I mean, come on. Can't you see how cute?
No, they're very weird.
You know what? That's it. I just like everybody, just dogs, just don't listen. Not everybody can be a dog lover in this world. But you know what? We love everybody anyway, so here we go. Big hug, grumpy grandma. Grandma. Big hug, grandma.
How dare you call me Grumpy Grandma?
Because that's what you behave like. If that's what you're gonna behave like, that's what you get called. I mean, you get called what you behave like. You know what? Let me put the dogs back into the bag this way. They don't even have to hear you grumping at me.
That's a good idea because I don't want to hear them barking anyway.
Okay, so you know what? So this is the deal. We should then just sit down and we should watch the show and pray that my dogs don't make a whole lot of noise.
I sure hope so.
And if they do, you can best believe I'm going to leave with them. I'm going to leave with my dogs, and you're not going to have the pleasure of sitting next to me.
Pleasure and sitting next to you don't go in the same sentence.
Well, I smell nice. I have a nice perfume on.
That
so I do
has
smell
nothing
good.
to do with it.
Well, I bring good energy.
Okay, you win.
Yay! Woo! Okay, I'll sit as long as it's gonna last, and when they start making noise, I'm gonna leave. This is a very, very fair situation.
That's a good deal.
Truce?
Yeah.
Truce. Big hug.
Thank you so much, Estelle. You are amazing as per usual. We had a lot of fun, not sweating bullets. Okay. Next up is Ellen Applebaum.
Hi, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Dina, for doing this because it's the greatest energy to just come and be ourselves. And it's kind of interesting. I thought I was thinking of something that nobody had ever thought of before. I said, I'll read poetry. And look at that, we're all like one mind. So, yeah, there's 2 people doing poetry, maybe there'll be 3. I chose poetry for a reason. I used to sing, sound familiar? I didn't have the experience you had. I got old. And I decided I would be better off not showing off my voice to you at this point in my life. Thank you, I was. Poems are simply word pictures. Some of them tell a story, and others capture a moment. This poem by Robert Frost describes what happens outside my window every spring. It's called Nothing Gold Can Stay. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaves a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief, so dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. And then he wrote a longer one. I love Robert Frost because he knows how to take words, simple English words, and put them together in a way that you see the world differently after you've been through it. You've seen birches in forests around here and in the Catskills, but listen to his poem about birches. You know birches, right? Those are the white trees, right? Okay. When I see birches bend to left and right across the lines of straighter, darker trees, I like to think some boy's been swinging them, but swinging doesn't bend them down to stay as ice storms do. Often you must have seen them loaded with ice a sunny winter morning after a rain. They click upon themselves as the breeze rises and turn many-colored as the stir cracks and crazes their enamel. Soon the sun's warmth makes them shed crystal shells, shattering and avalanching on the snow crust. Such heaps of broken glass to sleep away, you'd think the inner dome of heaven had fallen. They are dragged to the withered bracken by the load, and they seem not to break, though once they are bowed so low, for so long, they never right themselves. You may see their trunks arching in the woods, years afterwards, trailing their leaves on the ground, like girls on hands and knees that throw their hair before them over their heads to dry in the sun. But I was going to say, when truth broke in, with all her matter-of-fact about the ice storm, I should prefer to have some boy bend them. As he went out and in to fetch the cows, some boy too far from town to learn baseball, whose only play was what he found himself, summer or winter, and could play alone. One by one he subdued his father's trees by riding them down over and over again until he took the stiffness out of them, and not one but hung limp. Not one was left for him to conquer. He learned all there was to learn about not launching out too soon, and so not carrying the tree away clear to the ground. He always kept his poise to the top branches, climbing carefully with the same pains you use to fill a cup up to the brim and even above the brim. Then he flung outward, feet first with a swish, kicking his way down through the air to the ground. So was I once myself, a swinger of birches, and so I dream of going back to be. It's when I'm wary of considerations, and life is too much like a pathless wood, where your face burns and tickles with the cobwebs broken across it, and one eye is weeping from a twig's having lashed across it open. I'd like to get away from earth a while, and then come back to it and begin over. May no fate willfully misunderstand me and half grant what I wish, and snatch me away, not to return. Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. I'd like to go by climbing a birch tree and climb black branches up a snow-white trunk toward heaven, till the tree could bear no more, but dipped its top and set me down again. That would be good, both going and coming back. One could do worse than be a swinger of birches. Right? Robert Frost. This is another poem, not by Robert Frost, about the effect of a tree on the human heart. It's called The Contractor. Behind him, a glinting parking lot. Below him, a November field. Before him, a forest remnant. Naked gray trees daring the wind, their upstretched boughs deny them all protection, their proud supplication. Before he tamed this lump of sod, something nodded up inside. He stopped to peruse it and stayed on to visit. The wind tried to bend him. He didn't resist. Love at first touch. But it was the milkweed that hooked him. A half-burst pod made him a child again. Kitten fur, he thought. And when it warmed his lips, dreams of grandeur ended. So, enough for long poems and thoughtful poems. Here's a kind of humorous poem. Ogden Nash was a poet who took a lot of liberties with rhythm and rhyme. It's hard to believe that he wrote this poem 70 years ago. It's called Everybody Tells Me Everything. I find it very difficult to enthuse over the current news. Just when you think that at least the outlook is so black that it can grow no blacker, it worsens. And that is why I do not like the news, because there has never been an era when so many things were going so right for so many of the wrong persons. That's Ogden Nash. Here is a poem that is a snapshot in words of a president. If you remember your history, there are history people here. I didn't know. Yeah, history people. Ooh. Lincoln was president during the Civil War, and about a week after it ended, he was watching a play in the presidential box at Ford's Theater when a disgruntled rebel, I guess, John Wilkes Booth, sneaked up behind him and changed history. It's called A Farmer Remembers Lincoln. Lincoln, well, I was in the old 2nd Maine, the 1st Regiment in Washington from the Pine Tree State. Of course, I didn't get the butt of the clip. We was there for Garden, Washington. We was all green. I ain't never been to the theater in my life. I didn't know how to behave. I ain't never been since. I can see as plain as my hat the box where he sat in when he was shot. I can tell you, sir, there was a panic when we found our president was in the shape he was in. Never saw a soldier in the world but what liked him. Yes, sir, his looks was kind of hard to forget. He was a spare man, an old farmer. Everything was all right, you know, but he wasn't a smooth-appearing man at all. Not in no ways. Thin-faced, long-necked, and a swelling kind of a thick lip like. And he was a jolly old fellow, always cheerful. He wasn't so high, but the boys could talk to him in their own ways. While I was serving at the hospital, he'd come in and say, "You look nice in here. Praise us up, you know." And he'd bend over and talk to the boys. He'd bend over and talk to the boys. And he'd talk so good to them, so close. That's why I call him a farmer. I don't mean that everything about him wasn't all right, you'll understand. It's just, well, I was a farmer. And he was my neighbor, anybody's neighbor. I guess even you young folks would have liked him. Poems can really take you someplace sometimes. Emily Dickinson was a paradox. She lived a quiet life. She hardly went out. She did not marry, though it seems she fell in love at least once. After she died, her poems were discovered. Here's one. We never know how high. We never know how high we are till we are called to rise. And then, if we are true to plan, our statures touch the skies. The heroism we recite would be a daily thing, did not ourselves the Cupid's warp for fear to be a king. I decided to end with this one. It speaks for itself. I hope it shows you how a good poem will comfort the writer and the reader. It's called Old Closet. Old Closet. Long ago, I tucked away things I thought I'd need someday. Tarnished shoes with heels of gold, faded perfume like an old ineffectual caress in a limp forgotten dress. And in a box behind a bonnet, I saved a sad, uneven sonnet that made a simple music of such words as love and dove and glove, and a note without a name. It read, "Nobody is to blame, that loves will end and hearts will break. It read, "Be happy for my sake. We've had our penny and we spent it." I wish I could recall who sent it.
Thank you so much, Ellen. You're the best. And now I'd like to call upon Hannah Leader. She's going to be reading powerful posts about striving to be the best.
Hi. I kind of changed my mind. So I was trying to think like where my talents are, and I realized that I'm very good at choosing friends. I have a friend who's sitting right over there, Alana, who I've been friends with since the 4th grade. And we've been super close, and I wanted to share some tips about, choosing people in your life. So an important thing is you can be yourself with that person. You can feel happy after you spend time with that person. You can walk away and you're not judging yourself. You're not worried, you're not anxious, you don't feel like I'm not good enough, or do they really like me? You feel like emotionally safe with them, they'll always be there for you, or will they only be there when it's convenient for them? Convenient for you. And another important thing is to have open, truthful communication. Thank you.
And now I'd like to call to the stage Cyril Braun.
So I wrote this poem for anybody who has ADD. I actually taught for 20 years. And I was actually a creative teacher. I taught through song, dance, poetry, acting, drama. And it was the best audio and visual for my students. But there were a lot of kids with ADD. And I realized that it's a serious problem that was not diagnosed when we were younger. I don't know, maybe I had it or didn't, I'm not really sure, but I know that when I got older and I had a lot of trauma from over the years for different things, I realized that I'm a bit ADD these days. So here goes. I called it, I don't ever forget. I'm not forgetful. Nothing ever slips my mind. I just remembered to buy a snack, but I chose the wrong kind. I remember to take out the garbage once the garbage men drive away, and remember to collect the cut grass once it turns into hay. I remember to take the bread out of the oven, it just turned into toast. And I remember to take the meat off the flame once I burn it and let it roast. I never forget I have a flight and must be at the airport on time. Just my flight left in the AM, and now I have a fine. I don't ever forget your anniversary date. I just simply remember to celebrate it late. I always remember to buy your favorite ale. I just end up paying full price because I simply missed the sale. I don't ever forget to check the mailbox. I just simply remember once I undress and take off my socks. And I always remember to answer your texts. It's just that sometimes I don't press the send button next. I remember to leave conditioner in my hair for a long minute or two, but sometimes I mix the bottles up and instead I pour shampoo. Of course, I never forget to shut the faucet before the water hits the floor, but somehow I just remember when I see the water crawling out the door. See, I'm not a forgetful person, just sometimes I'm ADD, and what seems outrageous to you is just normal for me. All right, so one day, somebody was telling me, I gotta set you up with somebody. And he's a this and this and this. She starts giving me his profession. And then I came up with this silly idea. It's not poetry, but it's quite funny. And I'm apologizing for anybody who's in any of these professions. Okay. She fell, and you could help out if you think you know the next line. She fell in love with a fireman, but she got burned. She fell in love with a mechanic, and she got serviced. She fell in love with a drywaller and got plastered. She fell in love with a musician and she got played. She fell in love with a chimney sweeper, but he fumed and dusted her off. She fell in love with a meteorologist. He stormed out on her. She fell in love with a proctologist. They totally butt heads. She fell in love with a furrier. She fell into his trap. She fell in love with an entomologist. He gave her butterflies. She fell in love with a sanitation worker. He wasted her time. She fell in love with a brace maker. He was very supportive. She fell in love with a physicist. She was drawn to him like a magnet. She fell in love with a jeweler. He completely charmed her. She fell in love with a watchmaker, but he never had time. She fell in love with a detective, but he was clueless. She fell in love with a puzzler. They were such a good match. She fell in love with a mathematician, and he set a good example. She fell in love with a traffic warden, but he was just a whistleblower. She fell in love with a surgeon, and he cut her off. She fell in love with a dairy farmer. He totally milked her. She fell in love with a sailor. He swept her away. She fell in love with a paver, but they had a lot of bumps on the road. She fell in love with a launderer. He took her to the cleaners. She fell in love with a thief. He wasn't such a steal. She fell in love with a stock boy, but she got canned. She fell in love with a pilot, and he was so flighty. She fell in love with a miner, but it was rigged. Miner with an E. She fell in love with a circus director, but it freaked her out. She fell in love with an enigmatologist. That's a puzzle maker, but he puzzled her. She fell in love with a street paver, and she was floored. She fell in love with a scientist. It was such good chemistry. She fell in love with a genealogist. The rest was history. She fell in love with a banker. It was a great investment. She fell in love with a bridge worker, but he trolled her. She fell in love with a beater. He only strung her along. She fell in love with an actuary, but he was not invested. She fell in love with a baker. He flaked down. She fell in love with a gravedigger, but he ditched her. She fell in love with a bartender, and she got screwed. She fell in love with Santa. He called her a hoe. She fell in love with a bomber. It was dynamite. She fell in love with a hairdresser. He conditioned her. She fell in love with a ghost, but she got spooked. She fell in love with a pope. He prayed on her. She fell in love with a gardener, but she got played. She fell in love with an astronaut. He was out of this world. She fell in love with a phlebotomist. He was such a prick. She fell in love with a voltage worker. She got alarmed. She fell in love with a masseuse, but he didn't need her. She fell in love with a lumberjack, but he barked at her. She fell in love with a cake decorator. He was whipped. She fell in love with an exterminator. It totally bugged her out. She fell in love with a priest, and he ghosted her. She fell in love with a fisherman, and he catfished her. She fell in love with a banker, and he penny pinched her. She fell in love with a cobbler. He had no soul. She fell in love with a builder, and he broke her. She fell in love with a blacksmith, but he forged a new identity. And when she fell in love with a plumber, she got drained. Okay, so here's a short poem, also for all those dating that have all the judgmentalism out there, so this is a short one. It's called Who Told You So? So who told you so? I write these poems because I have a lot of friends dating first time around and they're in their 40s, were never married, and I see their hardships. And I see like they're always telling me, this is what the shadchan asked and that's what the shadchan asked. And I was married for almost 15 years, and I can tell you that 90% of the questions that they ask for shidduchim have nothing to do with the marriage, and have nothing to do with how successful a woman will be as a wife and a mother. So all the questions that are asked are just, it's really, really a tremendous avla in the community. So I write poetry to help my friends. So this one is called, Who Told You So? So who told you so that you cannot be someone great, that you cannot grow, that you are not sunshine, that you are not the rainbow? Who made you feel that you cannot deal, that you cannot express yourself, that you can't be real? Who made you think that you're not the missing link, that you don't belong, that you are not strong, that you are always wrong? Who made you hide that you have no pride, that you are not worthy of being a bride, that they make you die inside? What made you think that you should not sing, that you don't deserve a ring, that you are not fun for anyone? Who made the rain feel like the tears of your pain, that you have no gain, that you must get out of everyone's lane? Who did that to you? Who broke you and who destroyed you? Who left you as but a smithereen that does not want to be seen, that makes you feel unworthy and unclean? Who? Who are they anyway?